Welcome to the Evo India podcast, and welcome to a new segment that we're starting on motorsport. Now, there is a fair bit of motorsport that happens in the country. Actually, you probably don't see it in the news and all that, but there is a fair bit of motorsport that actually happens. And we're going to try and give it a voice. We're going to try and talk to movers and shakers in the motorsport space and also talk to our own in house experts in the racing space. A lot of us here at Evo India, we started off from motorsport. I did 8-10 years of rallying. Karan is interested in racing. A lot of us, during the MotoGP races, the Formula One races, everybody is hooked on to their devices, watching the races. A lot of activity and a lot of interest in motorsport. So we're going to try and give motorsport a voice by doing periodic motorsport podcasts on the Evo India channel. Now, like I said, a lot of racing, a lot of rallying happens in India. You probably don't see it, but it does happen. Now, we want to start with the basics. Let's start off right at the bottom. Now, with two-wheelers, you have the single make racing championship, and it is significantly, it's like very, very, very affordable. Karan, how much is very affordable?
So if you were a part of the Apache Racing Experience that just happened, 1,500 rupees was all you had to pay to enter.
1,500 bucks.
Yeah, 1,500 bucks. And if you get
That's
shortlisted,
1,500 or 15,000.
1500, 1,500.
That's like half a tank of fuel in an Apache.
Actually, a full tank of fuel in Apache. Bike tanks are still relatively small. So
Okay, so a full tank of fuel, and that's all it costs to take part in this racing championship.
yeah, and if you get shortlisted, we'll get more on the exact format later. But if you do get
But
shortlisted,
hang on, 1,500 bucks.
1,500 bucks.
And what does that include?
So 1,500 bucks, you get your bike, turn up to a go-kart track in your location. You get a preliminary tearing.
So wait, you don't even have to take your bike to the Chennai track or the Coimbatore track.
No. So you have your city-wide selection. Just go to the go-kart track, get training from the TVS Racing experts, and have fun on the track.
This is I'm supposed to be an expert, so-called expert on motorsport, but I also did not know that this was this cheap. So this is actually a great way to start this podcast. So before we go ahead, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Sirish Chandran, editor of Evo India. I have with me in the podcast studio Karan Ramgopal, principal correspondent at Evo India, and he looks after all our biking content. So he's the expert. He is in the hot seat today. I'm going to be asking him questions because I've been kind of out of this whole motorsport space for a while. I keep seeing some stuff, not that much, but I believe because you guys keep going every second weekend to the tracks and all that for covering races. So these guys know a lot about racing. And in this, we're going to focus on grassroots motorsport. And in my opinion, nobody does grassroots motorsport like TVS does. Now,
Absolutely.
TVS has been racing for what, 35, 40 years, correct?
42 now. They've started since 1982. Yeah.
42 years.
Yeah.
That's like a little older than I am.
Yeah.
Wow. So 42 years. I remember one of my first races that I went to cover, and everything that I went to watch, everything had TVS bikes in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also rode one of their racing mopeds, and I believe that's where TVS started off.
Correct.
By racing mopeds.
So, yeah, one of their 50cc mopeds clocked 105 kilometers per hour, and that's where it all began for them.
Yeah, the rider
And-
must have been also 50 kilos, right?
Yeah, and he must have been sleeping on the bike legs backwards.
Yeah, but that's insane, huh?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I've seen those racing mopeds. They look really freakish.
Yeah.
Really cool. So maybe later on we'll do a full podcast on TVS Racing and their whole history and where they started off. But they've been promoting grassroots motorsport and they've been consistent in it. So you said 42 years, right? And I think in those 42 years, maybe during COVID, they would have taken a break. And apart from that, every year they've been racing. And they don't do just racing. They do rallying. They do the supercross and the motocross. They also pick up young talent and send them to international shows. C.S. Santosh, he is a graduate of the TVS school. Arvind KP, Harit Noah, Aishwarya Pise on the Lady Riders. All of them have come through the TVS school. So what TVS has done for Indian racing is without parallel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And they've been doing it consistently. So let's talk about the Apache Racing series or Apache Racing Experience.
Apache
What do they
Racing
call it?
Experience is what they're calling it. So essentially, it is to engage all of the Apache owners that they have and give them a proper full-blown racing experience. So the whole tagline that TVS adheres to is road to race.
Okay.
And or rather race to road, but it sort of works both ways if you think about it. And they're taking that very seriously and offering customers since 2007 the chance to go to a go-kart track and race But this year they did this in a very, very grand manner. So they had 20 cities where selection rounds were happening. Over 1,000 people have come in and gotten shortlisted, and that has been narrowed down to 48 people across three classes. So you have the 160 and 180cc Apache owners combined in one class, then the 200cc owners, and then the RR310, of course. So yeah, so 48 people finally turned up at MMRT and had a weekend of proper racing. So they had a one-day qualifier and practice session and races on the next day. So full-blown racing experience.
So what you said wasn't wrong. Road to race, because now these people, guys and girls, I'm sure there must be some girls also who took part in this, but these people actually have come in from road riding, because these are not professional racers. This series is not open to professional racers, right? This is
This
for
is just for
enthusiasts.
customers, yeah.
So you buy an Apache, any TVS Apache, and you qualify to enter into this. Now, like I said at the start, you don't have to go to any racetrack.
No?
So you are in Pune, and the qualifying rounds in Pune, you go to the go-karting track, because obviously in Pune we don't have a racing track, neither do we have it in Mumbai or Delhi
Yeah,
or wherever,
yeah.
right? So you go to a go-karting track and you take part. Now, how does it work? Is it like you're given a timed lap, or do you have a race over there?
Yeah, so you have like a time lap, you have training, and then there's a small race, and then the winners from there are shortlisted. It also bases your time, of course.
Okay.
So the fastest people do get selected.
How many from each city?
So 16 get selected in all. I'm not too sure the exact breakup,
Okay.
but what we do know and what we have seen is, like I said, 1,000 people across the 20 cities.
Hmm.
So even if you break that down, that's like what? My maths is very bad, but yeah, good
Okay, so I
number
guess
of 100 people
around
coming
three,
from each
three
city.
to five from each city. So
Yeah, something
and
thereabouts.
obviously the fastest in each category, they definitely would qualify.
Yes, yeah.
You said three categories, right?
Three
So
categories.
any Apache that you own, you can go take part. If you qualify, you get to go for the grand finals at the Madras International Circuit, right? So now these guys or girls and girls, they probably would not have ridden at the Chennai racetrack, especially if they are from, say, Pune or Guwahati or somewhere
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
How do they get up to speed?
So they are trained. The training happens at multiple levels. So you have like a basic novice first level training that happens at the grassroots level, so at the go-kart tracks. And then the guys who did get selected got proper level 2 training at Chennai before the race. So
Okay, so it's not like you land up there
and you're just
then
expected to race. No, they're actually taken care of in that sense. Also, proper lines are taught,
Hmm.
proper track etiquette is taught, which is all very important. And a place like Chennai, they enforce rules very prominently
Aggressively?
and aggressively. And
Not
yeah,
without reason.
absolutely, not without reason at all. Safety is paramount.
Yes.
And they do make sure that the riders understand that and are well aware of the risks that are involved in racing. So that is also great, because racing is one thing, but being able to race on track and having those fundamental skills also makes you a great rider on the road.
Yeah.
So they are also helping in that regard.
So $1,500 to qualify to enter your local race. Once you get selected, you are invited to Chennai. Now, how much do you pay to go and take part in that Chennai races?
Just your flight tickets.
No way, man. Come
That's
on.
all.
Just your flight tickets.
Just your flight tickets. Stays taken care of. Bike and mechanic
Stay
is taken care of. Yeah. Bike
So
and
it's like a
mechanic.
paid holiday.
Paid holiday.
So you land up in Chennai, and that's it.
That's it.
Your stay is taken care of.
Stays taken care of. Bike is taken care of. Suit is taken care of.
No. So you don't even have to carry your racing suit
No.
and no leathers,
No.
nothing. You're given everything.
Everything.
So your suit, your gloves, your boots,
Yeah.
helmet you should carry on your own, right?
Helmet you should carry, but if I'm not mistaken, they were taking care of that also for those
Helmets
who didn't have
also?
the helmet that was meeting spec. Yeah.
Underwear you have to carry your own,
That's preferable, ideally.
but everything is taken care of.
Everything is taken care of.
So $1,500, you qualify from whatever city you're in. You take a flight or a train or a bus or whatever, land up in Chennai, and then TVS takes care of everything.
Everything.
Man, so that's grassroots level racing taken to
very,
a
very,
whole
very
other
seriously.
level.
Yes.
This is okay. Wait, hang on. Bikes? You have to bring your own bikes.
No.
So you're given bikes over there.
Better still, you're given TVS's race bikes. So you're actually riding the one make championship race bikes over there.
So you're riding not just the street bike with the
No.
center stand and the
Nothing, none
mirrors
of that.
taken
You're
off,
riding
but
the
you're
proper
riding
race
a
bikes.
proper race bike.
Yeah.
A proper race bike
a proper race bike
for free.
for free,
Fuel?
taken care of.
Man, that's incredible.
It's really mind-boggling, and the fact that they have been riding their Apache also gives them an edge when they're out on track, because the race bikes are actually derived from the road bikes, and a lot of the technology is shared back and forth. So they stay true to their racing heritage in that sense as well.
Okay, so keeping my incredulity aside, let's talk about the whole ARE. When did it start?
So the ARE has been going on since 2007.
Okay.
So that's again a long time.
Yeah.
And the it's been on a relatively smaller scale. If you're looking at this
So what is the
2024.
smaller scale? How did it start? What was the program like?
Again, go-kart tracks, you come, ride, experience, but the experience ended about there.
Okay.
But this time around, like I said, the finals happen in MMRT.
So this is the big step up in
This is the big
24,
step up in
where
2024.
you get to go to a proper racetrack and go and race
Right,
over
absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the format for qualifying for it. At the races, what all happens? How many classes are there?
So if you have been to a racing school, you know how it works. And if not, it's essentially you get classroom training, you get on-bike training, and you're taught the basic fundamentals of riding on a track. You're expected to know how to ride a bike, so that is a given. But apart from that, a lot of things like racing lines, what coming in from going wide, getting the apex and going back out wide again, all those concepts are explained further. Your flags, what they mean, because those are extremely important for communication on a racetrack, and riding posture, riding technique, all of that is covered. But again, because it's not a dedicated track school, it won't happen over a longer duration. It is consolidated into half a day, suppose. So you get that experience as well, and that training happens with your pro racers like Jagan Kumar, KY Ahmed, and the likes. So you have that experience, then you have practice. So once you're done with that, you go get a feel for the track, apply what you've learned, get the spots that you're comfortable, what you need to be doing, try a few wrong lines here and there. Then you get into your qualifying. So then you get timed for your qualifying. Your best times are taken. That sort of sets your starting rate. So essentially like a proper race weekend that you would have in MotoGP, F1, WSBK, any of that. All of that is consolidated and given to these Apache owners as an experience over the weekend.
So this is Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday is all the qualifying,
Yeah.
practice, training, and Sunday you have your races.
How
So
many
you have
races?
Race 1 and race 2.
Okay, so each class has two races.
2 races. So there's like a proper championship standing. So if you came first in race 1 and you came fourth in race 2, it's not by default that you're going to win the championship. So every rider, again, in that sense, is also given a chance to improve the performance. And along with that, with each race, with each session on track, you're also getting more track time.
Of course,
You're getting more comfortable. You're getting a feel for the bike. So yeah, so that's how the weekend goes.
And what were
essentially.
the three categories of motorcycles they were racing?
So like I said, so the 160 and 180cc owners were riding the 200.
Okay.
Then the 200cc owners were also riding the 200,
Okay.
OMC spec. And after that, the
What is OMC?
OMC is short. It's an abbreviated this thing for one make championship,
Okay.
which is what you call the racing series. And the RR310 owners were riding the RR310 one make championship. So again, a bare bones bike, just what you need for the racetrack. No lights, no indicators, no side stand, none of that. So a lighter bike.
But listen, let's clarify. Bare bones doesn't mean like stripped out. It's a racing motorcycle.
No. So
Yeah,
I say
so-
bare bones as an absolute compliment.
Yeah.
Where all the things you don't need,
Yeah.
and then you also
do these
have.
bikes also have race suspension on them?
So the suspension are tuned, but they're kept stock. Then as you go higher up the ladder, the RR310 has classes of the bike. You have your local one make championship. Then you have the pro stock, which competes with other. Which is not part of the one make championship, but that also participates where you have KTM's, Yamahas, and all of that. So that is much higher spec, higher suspension, changes to the chassis, significant changes to the engine, and then you have the Asia spec one make championship bike, which has just recently clocked 215 on the main straight in Thailand, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. I remember something over
Yeah.
200 kmph.
Yeah.
One of the bikes had
With
clocked.
every race they've done, they've taken that speed further. So the customers got to ride the one make championship R310, which I have ridden, and it is still quite an intense experience because
I'm sure.
you have a race like RTR in itself stands for race throttle response, and that is taken further with the race bike. So you have like a quarter turn of throttle, and you're dealing with more power because you have a free flow exhaust, you have forged pistons and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is what they were riding.
And of course, the whole experience of being there at a racetrack during a race weekend,
yeah.
was it along with the National Racing Championship?
No,
or
this
was
was
it
a
only
dedicated event because they
Okay.
had multiple races running through the day. So this
Okay.
was a dedicated event.
But it was like a festival for Apache owners.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't see why not.
Yeah. and
Yeah.
So I'm scared of asking this, but okay, you paid $1,500, you qualified, you got there. Did you also get like prize money? Did you get to, if you won, you got some added Bonus?
So, from what I'm being told, if you win, you get a spot as a wildcard entry into the proper INMRC One Make Racing Championship calendar.
No
So, you get
way.
to race in that, and the winners also get to witness the MotoGP live in Sepang.
Wow. So for 1,500 bucks, you've qualified, you've gone to Chennai, you won the race, and then you are taken to Sepang to go and watch the MotoGP and also a wildcard entry in the full-fledged race series.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what more do you want here.
Time to switch careers.
Okay, no, time to hit the gym for you. So that's a whole other part. But honestly, I don't. Why isn't racing bigger? Like why isn't more racing happening? Because this is a great way to get into racing, right? It's
Absolutely.
so money is not the issue. Let's deal with that, right? Everybody says motorsport is expensive and you need to have a rich father or uncle or a sponsor to get you into racing. But it's one tank of fuel, right?
Yeah.
It's just one tank of fuel. So no, if you can't afford that, then use the bus. Don't use the bike for a month, and you've got that cash to go out. And so it's a great way that if you have talent or you can go and develop your talent. I'm sure all these karting tracks, if you speak to them, they'll give you like a day where you can go ride your motorcycles
Absolutely, yeah.
and learn, practice, all
Yeah.
of that. So there really is nothing stopping somebody who's interested in racing actually getting into racing.
Yeah, because the facilities are sorted. You have someone actually taking care of all of that. So right now, literally all you need to do is just go and apply.
Actually, this podcast, we should actually put in, everybody uses all these clickbaity thumbnails. We should put that no excuse for wanting to race or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't see any reason why, if you're interested in racing, you won't go and get into racing. Also, there's no age limit, right?
No.
So say now if I get the bug and I say, chalo bindas, I'll go and race, I can also go and race, right?
Yeah,
And if
absolutely.
I'm no half decent, I could probably qualify and go and race in Chennai.
Yeah, absolutely.
And today, coming to that same subject, if you are a half decent motorcycle journalist, you can also go and race.
Yeah, my first introduction to racing and actually going on racing was again with TVS. So they have the Young Media Racer program that they've been having for the last 6 years, I believe now.
Yeah, so 6-7 years.
Yeah. So that was my first taste of racing as well. And I went
So
in
let's
with...
hold on. So let's talk about the Young Media Racer program.
So the Young Media Racer program is essentially a racing program that TVS runs alongside the INMRC, and that happens in the same calendar as well. But it is where journalists get to come and experience what racing is like, not from the covering side, but from the participating side. So that gives a very different perspective to the whole functioning. Again, it is... a very similar racing experience to the Apache Racing Experience. You get your bike is taken care of, your mechanic is taken care of, and it's proper racing. You're racing with your peers in the industry, and it hones your skills. It gives you all the time you need on track. It's just a whole lot of fun, and it's also incentivized with a championship. So you have reason to go back, improve your skills, ride better,
Yeah, so it's
ride
not
faster.
a one-off race. It's like 4 or 5 races in the year.
So it's 3 races that happen over the season along with the INMRC. So you're not only there, you're also there seeing the professionals race, showing you how it's done. And you're racing alongside them. It's also televised, so you can actually tell your friends to go and watch it. So
And not just that, to me, the biggest takeaway from this is that it makes you a better motorcycle journalist. Now,
yes,
I know
100%.
when I started off, I used to cover motorsport. But then when I started rallying, like proper in the national championship, that's when I learned so much more about vehicle dynamics,
Yeah,
about
100%.
handling, about how to handle a car, and also what the suspension is doing, how to really analyze a car. So as a road tester, my professional rallying years actually made me 10 times better.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you just learn so much. You also interact with like really good mechanics, tuners, and they teach you so much about understanding a car, and obviously in a biking field, understanding a motorcycle.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
after a season of the Young Media Racer program, you just become a better motorcycle journalist because you then know what the bike is doing.
Absolutely.
You can convey that better to your audience. And the Young Media Racer program, it's not limited just to magazines as such. It's across
Yeah.
the board. It's magazines, it's YouTube channels,
Television,
it is,
all of it.
It's everything. It's social media influencers, everybody. And as far as I know, at least everybody in the Evo India team all the young motorcycle journalists have all done the young media
Yeah,
racer
yeah.
program.
And
And
they're all much better riders and journalists for it.
I can see that
Yeah.
because after you went, say, so Atish, he went for it. And after that, he was getting knee down shots all
Yeah,
over the
yeah.
place. You went for it, you started getting knee down
Yeah,
shots.
yeah.
Same with Mandar. In fact, Mandar went for the recent one and he won something.
Yes, I think in the Young Media Racer program, he finished second overall.
Okay.
So that was again great. And even in the part of the ARE, we were invited as media to come and have a separate media race.
Yeah.
And he won that championship.
Yeah, so Mandar was in Chennai for the Apache Racing Experience, covering it.
Yeah.
I think the day before or 2 days before, I remember you guys telling me in the office that TVS has also invited us to
To
race.
ride, yeah.
And I said, yeah, man, let Mandar go and race.
Hmm.
And he won that round.
Absolutely, yeah.
So double benefit for him going and watching the races plus going and winning the young media program. So all this now we've covered, right? Now, what's next? Is there like a game plan from here to make it bigger, better? What's next?
So as far as I know, the same thing will happen again. And as and when TVS decides to change things, make things more interesting, they can, from things I can expect, they can maybe have a second round for the winners who have done this, make them more competitive, make it more difficult, and do stuff like that. But yeah, I think that is what lies ahead. Maybe having a separate round for the winners, and then maybe getting them into the proper national series, because they
Yeah, of
have
course.
proven that they are capable of doing that.
Of course. Does this also involve some bit of testing their electric race motorcycle?
No, so as far as I know, the electric race motorcycle is something that's happening on the side alongside the INMRC, and they are also testing how that bike is, and the components on that bike is quite interesting. You have Olin suspension, Brembo brakes, and the battery has been tested to last race distance, and they have done 3 or 4 rounds with it.
Yep.
So that will also be happening alongside. So interesting times lie ahead.
Awesome. So, congratulations to the winners of the Apache Racing Experience. Enjoy your weekend in Malaysia watching
Absolutely,
the MotoGP, and all the best for your races in the actual national championship. It might be a trial by fire because those guys have been racing for very long, but then that's how you learn.
Yeah.
You can only learn by riding against the best and knowing where you actually stand.
Yeah.
And then they obviously are also very helpful.
Yeah.
They'll tell you where you can get better. They'll analyze your data. You'll be able to become a faster, safer, smoother rider. And
Absolutely.
who knows, maybe from this grassroots motorsport, you probably will have the next lot of national racing champions.
National and international, because that's where TVS is headed to.
Is there an age limit for this? A minimum age limit?
Minimum age limit, if I'm not mistaken, is 18, because you are expected to have your own bike to participate, and you can get one only when you're 18. Let's say that's the case.
But I think we should actually cross-check on this, and maybe if a younger person can take part, we'll have a ticker at the bottom of
No,
this
so
video.
TVS does have a one-make championship for youngsters aging 11 to 16. So they do have that running. So that's not something that needs to start. That's already happening.
Yeah, because that's the only way in which you want to be a professional racer. You have to start very
You have
early.
to start very early.
Yeah.
That is very crucial. But it's not to say that you can't if you're not started early. There is this platform for you to do that.
Yeah, so for young racers also, this is a great way to get into
absolutely.
it. And I think we've covered almost everything. $1,500.
$1,500.
I can't get over this $1,500 business.
Yeah.
And these are like proper racing bikes. TVS Racing is
Proper
the
racing
biggest
bikes.
factory racing setup in
Yeah,
India. They have
yeah.
the best mechanics, they have the best riders, the best setup. We've done the 24-hour endurance run with the RR310,
RR310.
where the TVS Racing setup handled the pits, and we saw what a well-oiled machine it was, how good their riders were. Like, we really had to be at our A game to partner with them to put the whole
we had
thing
to get
together.
our A plus to be
Yeah.
where they were. And
So they really know their business.
100%.
And getting to be a part of this is a fantastic incentive just to buy an Apache, if you ask me, right?
And according to the data that we got, of the 1,000 people that came, 50% or more were from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So
Yeah, so
it
that's
is
another
showing
thing.
that
So it's not just for
it's not just
the
for
big cities,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
it's for the smaller cities
Yeah,
also, where
yeah.
opportunities aren't that much.
Mhm.
But now tier 2 cities also have go-kart tracks. Like if you call Kolhapur a tier 2 city, that has
Yeah.
a go-kart track. And I believe in the Northeast also there's a lot of interest in motorcycle racing. Plus those guys, because they ride in the hills, they are really good riders also. So
Absolutely.
it's opening up, and by making it affordable, you're just just making it accessible to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether no you can afford a big bike or not, whatever, you're just making it so much more affordable. And like, hats off, yeah, full compliments.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
100%.
if you have any more questions on how to get into racing, let us know in the comments and we will make sure that we reply to everything. If you don't know, we will ask TVS Racing, we'll get them to reply to it. Maybe
Absolutely.
we'll get one of the TVS Racing big guns in
And
the hot seat
get a lot
and
more insight from
and
them.
get a full insight into TVS Racing, what they've done over the years, all of that, and their plans for the future. So this is a great way to start our podcast on motorsport. Any other topics on motorsport we should pick up on, let us know in the comments and we'll get you much more of this. Thanks, Karan. This was really informative. I learned a lot today. I hope you guys who've been watching and listening to the podcast have also learned a few things. Like I said, any more questions, drop it in the
Definitely.
comments. Karan, final words on the Apache Racing Experience?
I think I'm going to be taking a few sick days next year.
Yeah, but Karan, at Evo India, you don't have to take a sick day. Huh? You can go and race. That's no problem. That's part of the deal, part of the contract. But first, gym days.
That'll happen too.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening to the podcast. And if you enjoy this, give us a shout out, share this with like minded enthusiasts, and of course, stay subscribed to the Evo India channel. Thank you guys.
Thank you for watching.